There comes a point in life when we all reach our limit. That moment when you look in the mirror and whisper to yourself, "I can't do this anymore." Maybe it's that project you've been working on for months that seems to never get off the ground. Maybe it's that childhood dream you've held on to, but now seems impossible to achieve. Or maybe it's the feeling that you're walking alone down a dark road, unable to see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're here today, if you clicked on this video, it's because something inside you still believes there's a way out. And I want to tell you something. You're not wrong. There's an ancient, profound, and transformative wisdom that can completely change the way you view your challenges. A wisdom that comes from one of the wisest characters ever created in literature, Gandalf the Grey, from The Lord of the Rings. Today we're going to delve together into the most powerful lessons this guardian wizard of Middle-earth can teach us about perseverance, courage, and the inner strength we all possess but sometimes forget is there. Welcome to a journey of self-discovery and transformation. My name is your name, and for the next few minutes I want to share with you not just inspirational words, but practical and spiritual tools that can literally change the trajectory of your life. If you're thinking of giving up, if you feel like your strength is at an end, if you're questioning whether it's worth continuing to fight for your dreams, this video was made especially for you. Because just as Frodo needed Gandalf's guidance to cross the shadowy lands of Mordor, we too need wisdom to navigate the most challenging moments of our personal journeys. The lessons we'll explore today aren't just philosophical reflections, they are time-tested principles capable of awakening in you a mental clarity you may not have felt in a long time, a courage you thought you had lost, and a renewed purpose that can reignite the flame of your determination. So, take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare to rediscover the wisdom that already exists within you. Lesson 1. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us. How many times have you caught yourself lamenting lost time? How many nights have you spent awake, thinking about the opportunities you let slip away, the paths you didn't choose, the words you didn't say? Gandalf teaches us one of the most liberating truths of human existence. We cannot control the time we are given, but we have total power over how we choose to use it. This isn't just a reflection on time management, it's a philosophy of life that can completely transform your perspective on the challenges you face today. When you're at your limit, when you're thinking of giving up, it's easy to get stuck in the past or anxious about the future. But Gandalf's wisdom invites us to pause and recognize that this moment now is all we truly possess. Every breath, every beat of your heart, every second that passes while you read these words is a unique opportunity to choose a new direction. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you made yesterday. It doesn't matter how uncertain tomorrow may seem. What matters is that you have at this very moment the power to make a decision that can change everything. In practice, this means stopping wasting mental energy reliving past failures or obsessively worrying about future scenarios that may never happen. It means accepting that you can't go back in time to correct mistakes, just as you can't speed up time to reach your goals faster. What you can do is honor the present by making conscious decisions aligned with your deepest values. When Gandalf guided Frodo through the difficulties of the journey, he didn't dwell on past mistakes or despair over future uncertainties. He focused on the next step, the next choice, the next opportunity to demonstrate courage and wisdom. This lesson invites us to transform our relationship with time from a source of anxiety into a source of empowerment. Every morning when you wake up, you can ask yourself, how can I use the next 24 hours in a way that brings me closer to the person I want to become? Every night before you sleep, you can reflect, what choices did I make today that filled me with pride, and what lessons can I take into tomorrow? This shift in perspective not only reduces anxiety and regret, but also gives us a renewed sense of purpose and direction. Lesson 2. Even the smallest person can change the course of the future. Have you ever felt insignificant in the face of your immense challenges? Have you ever looked at your dreams and thought, who am I to believe I can achieve this? Gandalf knew this feeling of smallness well, and that's why he chose a hobbit, the smallest and seemingly weakest of beings, to carry a responsibility that would change the fate of all of Middle-earth. This choice was not accidental. It was a profound demonstration that a person's size does not determine the size of their impact on the world. We live in a society that constantly makes us feel small. We are bombarded with stories of exceptional people with abundant resources, with powerful connections, and we begin to believe that we need to be extraordinary to make a difference. But Gandalf teaches us that true strength doesn't come from external resources. It comes from purity of intention, silent determination, the courage to take one step at a time, even when the path seems impossible. Frodo had no physical strength, wealth, political power, or special magical abilities. What he had was something far more powerful, the willingness to keep going when everyone else would give up. He understood that his unique contribution to the world wasn't about being the biggest, strongest, or smartest, but about staying true to his mission, even in the toughest times. This is a deeply transformative lesson for anyone who feels lost or insignificant. Applying this wisdom to your life means recognizing that you don't need to be perfect to start. You don't need all the answers to take the first step, and you don't need to impress anyone to make a difference. Your unique contribution to the world isn't about competing with others, but about being authentically yourself and using your natural gifts, however small they may seem, to create a positive impact. Maybe you won't change the whole world at once, but you can change one person's world, and that person can change another person's world. And so, gradually, your small light becomes a beacon that illuminates paths you never imagined. When you're tempted to give up because your efforts seem too small to matter, remember that every great transformation started with someone who decided to act despite feeling small. Every revolution started with a single person who said no to the status quo. Every movement of change started with someone who believed that their voice, however soft, deserved to be heard. You are that person. Your journey is that mission. Your apparent smallness is, in fact, your greatest strength. Lesson 3. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. This iconic line from Gandalf reveals one of the greatest sources of human suffering, our tendency to constantly question the timing of our lives. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why hasn't this happened yet? Or, why did so-and-so get this before me? Or, have I missed my chance? Gandalf teaches us that there's a higher wisdom in the timing of life, an orchestration that goes beyond our limited understanding of time and space. This doesn't mean we should be passive or that we shouldn't act, quite the contrary. It means we should trust the process while doing our part. Gandalf didn't arrive at the right time by chance. He arrived at the right time because he was attuned to something greater than himself, because he trusted his deep intuition, and because he understood that forcing things rarely leads to the best results. In our culture obsessed with speed and instant results, this lesson is revolutionary. It invites us to replace the anxiety of haste with the wisdom of active patience. Active patience doesn't mean passively waiting for things to happen. It means consistently working toward your goals while remaining open to the opportunities and signs the universe is constantly sending. It means understanding that some seeds need time to germinate, that some dreams need time to mature, and that some lessons can only be learned through experience. How many times have you rushed into an important decision and then regretted it? How many times have you forced a situation that wasn't ready to happen and ended up creating more problems? How many times have you missed a perfect opportunity because you were too focused on an opportunity that wasn't for you? Gandalf teaches us that there's a higher intelligence operating in our lives, and that our role isn't to control every detail, but to develop our capacity for discernment, to recognize when it's time to act and when it's time to wait. In practice, this means learning to distinguish between laziness and wise patience, between fear of acting and intuition to wait. It means developing the ability to listen to your inner voice and trust it, even when it goes against external pressure, to accelerate the process. It means understanding that your journey is unique and that comparing your timing to the timing of others is a form of violence against your own soul. When you learn to trust the timing of your life, you not only reduce anxiety and frustration, but you also become more effective in your actions because they emerge from a place of clarity and not desperation. Lesson 4. He who breaks a thing to find out what it is has left the path of wisdom. In a world that constantly encourages us to analyze, dissect, and break everything into smaller parts to better understand it, Gandalf offers a radically different perspective on how to acquire true knowledge. This lesson is especially powerful for those going through difficult times because it teaches us that we don't always need to completely understand a situation to navigate through it wisely. Have you ever found yourself obsessed with trying to understand exactly why something bad happened to you? Have you lost hours, days, or even months trying to dissect every detail of a disappointment, a failure, or a betrayal? Gandalf reminds us that there's a fundamental difference between analytical understanding and intuitive wisdom. The former comes from breaking things into pieces, the latter comes from observing the whole with compassion and acceptance. This doesn't mean we should be naive, or that we shouldn't learn from our experiences. It means there's a way of understanding that preserves the integrity and beauty of the experience, instead of destroying it through excessive analysis. When Gandalf observed the other characters in the story, he didn't judge them or try to change them. He saw them as complex and complete beings, each with their own unique journey of growth and discovery. This wisdom is deeply liberating for those struggling with feelings of inadequacy or confusion. It teaches us that we don't need to have all the answers to make good decisions. We don't need to understand all the details of a situation to respond to it with integrity. And we don't need to obsessively analyze our feelings to honor them and process them in a healthy way. Applying this lesson to your life means learning to approach your challenges with curiosity instead of judgment, with compassion instead of criticism, and with acceptance instead of resistance. When something painful happens, instead of immediately trying to find blame or complete explanations, you can simply acknowledge, "This is difficult for me right now, and it's okay to feel this difficulty." When you make a mistake, instead of mentally punishing yourself for hours, you can simply acknowledge, "I'm human, and humans make mistakes. What can I learn kindly from this experience?" This approach not only preserves your mental and emotional energy, but also allows you to maintain a healthier and more loving relationship with yourself. You become less of a relentless critic of your own life and more of a wise and compassionate observer of your human journey. Lesson 5. Hope is kindled when all seems lost. Perhaps there's no more powerful moment in any hero's journey than when everything seems utterly lost, and yet a small light of hope manages to shine through the darkness. Gandalf experienced many such moments, and he understood a profound truth about the nature of hope. It's not a superficial feeling or a denial of harsh reality. It's a spiritual force that emerges precisely when we need it most. Do you know that feeling? That moment when you look around and literally can't see any way out? When all doors seem closed, when all resources seem depleted, when even the people closest to you start to suggest that maybe it's time to give up. It's precisely in these moments that true hope has the opportunity to manifest. Not naive hope that denies the problems, but mature hope that looks directly at the difficulty and still chooses to believe in possibilities we can't see with our physical eyes. Gandalf teaches us that hope isn't something we should wait to feel before acting. It's something we create through our acts of courage, even when we don't feel it. Every time you choose to take one more step when you want to stop, every time you choose to be kind to yourself when you want to punish yourself, every time you choose to believe in a better future when the present seems impossible, you are literally kindling the flame of hope. This lesson is especially important to understand why so many people give up right before the turning point. It's as if there's a final test before each great transformation, a moment where everything seems to conspire to make us believe it's not worth continuing. But Gandalf knew that these moments of apparent defeat are often just the prelude to unexpected victories. He understood that the deepest darkness usually comes right before dawn. In practice, cultivating this Gandalf-esque hope means developing an unwavering faith not necessarily in the specific outcome you desire, but in the process of growth and transformation you're experiencing. It means trusting that every challenge you face is in some mysterious way contributing to your evolution as a human being. It means believing that you are stronger and wiser than you imagine, and that within you are resources you haven't yet fully discovered. When you find yourself at the lowest point of your journey, when the temptation to give up is almost irresistible, remember that this may be precisely the moment when your life is about to take a completely new and surprising direction. Gandalf's hope wasn't based on ease. It was based on the deep conviction that every human being carries within them a divine spark capable of transcending any obstacle. Lesson 6. Not all those who wander are lost. This may be one of the most misunderstood and at the same time most liberating phrases we can receive when we are going through a period of uncertainty. We live in a society that equates linear movement with progress, that interprets any deviation from the original plan as failure, and that sees periods of exploration and discovery as a waste of time. Gandalf offers a radically different perspective. Sometimes wandering is exactly what we need to do to find our true path. Have you ever felt judged for not having a perfectly defined life plan? Have you ever criticized yourself for exploring different possibilities instead of following a single, predictable trajectory? Have you ever wondered if you're wasting time by allowing your life to take unexpected directions? Gandalf reminds us that there's a crucial difference between being lost, without inner direction and without purpose, and wandering consciously, exploring life's possibilities with curiosity and openness. Many of the most accomplished and wise people we know have gone through periods of wandering. They explored different careers, lived in different places, experimented with different ways of relating to the world. Far from being a sign of indecision or weakness, this exploration was essential for them to discover who they really are and what really matters to them. They understood that it's not possible to know which path is right for you until you've experienced some paths that aren't. This lesson is especially valuable for young adults who feel pressured to choose a career for the rest of their lives. At 18, for middle-aged people who question whether it's still time to change direction, and for anyone going through a transition and feeling lost. Gandalf teaches us that uncertainty can be a sacred state of openness to possibilities we haven't yet been able to imagine. In practice, embracing this wisdom means giving yourself permission to explore, experiment, and even fail, without interpreting each experience as a definitive proof of your worth or potential. It means understanding that your life doesn't need to make sense to others or even to you at all times, at all. Lesson 7. It is not for us to master all the tides of this world, but to do what lies within our power for the good of the years we live in. This might be the most mature and liberating lesson Gandalf has to offer us. In a world that constantly bombards us with global problems, systemic injustices, and crises that seem larger than our individual capacity to impact, it's easy to feel simultaneously overwhelmed by the enormity of the challenges and insignificant in the face of our apparent inability to solve everything. Gandalf teaches us a wiser and more sustainable way to relate to our responsibility as conscious human beings. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the sheer number of problems in the world? Lost sleep worrying about issues completely outside your control? Felt guilty for not doing enough to change the world? This lesson invites us to make a fundamental distinction between global responsibility, which can crush us, and personal responsibility, which can empower us. Gandalf didn't try to control every aspect of Middle-earth. He didn't torture himself for failing to prevent every war, heal every wound, or resolve every conflict. Instead, he focused entirely on doing the best he could within his sphere of influence, trusting that his authentic contribution would be exactly what the world needed from him. He understood that each person has a unique role in the grand tapestry of existence, and that trying to take on roles that aren't yours is not only ineffective, but also prevents other people from fulfilling their own responsibilities. This wisdom is revolutionary for anyone struggling with feelings of guilt, inadequacy, or overload related to the world's problems. It teaches us that our first and most important responsibility is to become the best version of ourselves, using our unique gifts to contribute positively to our immediate circle of influence. Paradoxically, when we do this with integrity and consistency, our impact often expands in ways we could never have planned or imagined. Applying this lesson means clearly identifying your areas of real influence and focusing your energy there, instead of scattering yourself trying to solve problems beyond your reach. It means recognizing that you can vote conscientiously, but you can't control the outcome of elections. You can treat the people around you with kindness and respect, but you can't force all of society to do the same. You can take care of your physical and mental health, but you can't cure all the world's illnesses. This perspective isn't an excuse for inaction or apathy. It's an invitation to more focused and effective action. When you stop wasting energy, feeling guilty about things you can't control, you have more energy available to actually make a difference in the areas where your impact can be genuine and lasting. You become more present with your family, more attentive to your friends, more dedicated to your work, more mindful of your immediate environment, and these seemingly small actions create ripples of positive impact that expand far beyond what you can see. Lesson 8. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is more important than fear. This might be the most transformative understanding of courage we can receive. Our culture often portrays courage as a complete absence of fear, as if courageous people were immune to anxiety, doubt, and uncertainty. Gandalf teaches us something completely different. True courage isn't not feeling fear. It's feeling the fear fully and still choosing to act in alignment with our deepest values. How many times have you avoided doing something important because you were waiting to not feel afraid anymore? How many opportunities have you missed because you believed you needed to feel confident before acting? How many dreams have you postponed because you thought courageous people don't feel the anxiety you feel? Gandalf liberates us from this dangerous illusion, showing us that fear is a natural and even helpful part of the human experience, and that courage isn't its absence, but our conscious response to it. When Gandalf faced the forces of darkness, he felt fear. When he made decisions that could affect the fate of many people, he felt the weight of responsibility and the uncertainty about the outcome. But he had learned something that many of us are still learning, that it's possible to feel fear and still act wisely, to feel doubt and still make decisions aligned with our values, to feel anxiety and still take the next step toward our goals. This lesson invites us to completely change our relationship with uncomfortable emotions. Instead of seeing them as signals that we should stop or give up, we can learn to see them as valuable information about what truly matters to us. Often, we feel the most fear in the very situations that have the greatest potential for growth and fulfillment. Fear can be an indicator that we're about to do something significant, something that will push us out of our comfort zone and bring us closer to the person we want to become. In practice, cultivating this kind of courage means learning to acknowledge your fears without completely identifying with them. You can observe, "I'm feeling anxious about this presentation," without concluding, "I'm an anxious person who can't give presentations." You can notice, "I'm afraid of being rejected," without deciding, "I'd better not even try." You can recognize, "This decision scares me," without automatically interpreting it as, "This must not be the right decision." When you learn to dance with fear instead of running from it, when you learn to include anxiety in your experience instead of trying to eliminate it, you discover you're much braver than you imagined. You realize you've already done many courageous things in your life, not because you didn't feel fear, but because something more important than fear motivated your actions. And this discovery can be deeply transformative, because it means you already have everything you need to face the challenges ahead. This journey through Gandalf's wisdom has brought us here for a reason. If you've made it this far in the video, if you've followed each lesson, if you've allowed these words to touch something deep within you, it's because a part of your soul recognized truths you already knew, but perhaps had temporarily forgotten. Gandalf doesn't teach us anything that doesn't already exist potentially within each of us. He simply reminds us of what we're capable of when we choose to access our inner wisdom. You, who came here thinking of giving up, now hold in your hands spiritual and practical tools tested not only by the fantasy of Middle-earth, but by the reality of countless people who chose to persevere when all seemed lost. You've learned that the time you have is a gift to be honored through conscious choices, that your apparent smallness can be your greatest strength, that there's a perfect timing operating in your life, even when you can't see it. You've discovered that you don't need to break everything to understand, that hope is born precisely in moments of deepest darkness, that wandering can be a sacred way to find your true path. You've understood that your responsibility is to do the good within your reach, without trying to carry the weight of the entire world. And that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision that your values are more important than your fears. These aren't just nice lessons to reflect on. They're principles that can literally change the trajectory of your life if you choose to apply them. Every morning you wake up, you'll have the opportunity to choose whether you'll honor the time you've been given or waste it in lamentations. Every challenge you face will be a chance to discover that you are stronger than you imagine. Every moment of uncertainty will be an opportunity to trust the growth process you're experiencing. Every difficult decision will be a chance to practice courage, even while feeling fear. But here's the most important truth of all. You don't need to apply all these lessons perfectly at once. You don't need to transform into a wise wizard overnight. You just need to choose one lesson that resonates most with you right now, at this moment on your journey, and start experimenting with it in your daily life. Maybe it's learning to honor the present instead of living in the past or the future. Maybe it's recognizing that your unique contribution matters, even if it seems small. Maybe it's trusting the timing of your life instead of forcing results. Maybe it's choosing courage despite the fear you feel. What matters isn't perfection, but it's direction. What matters isn't never feeling like giving up again. It's remembering in difficult moments that you have internal resources that can sustain you through any storm. What matters isn't eliminating all the challenges in your life. It's developing the wisdom and inner strength needed to navigate through them with grace and purpose. Gandalf knew something we sometimes forget, that every human being is, in fact, the hero or heroine of their own epic journey. Your life is no less important, less significant, or less full of potential than any fantasy story. The challenges you face are real. The victories you achieve matter, and the wisdom you develop through your experiences can be a light that illuminates the path for other people who are going through similar difficulties. So before closing this video, I want to leave you with a challenge and an invitation. The challenge is this: over the next 7 days, choose one of the lessons that touched your heart today and consciously practice applying it to your life. It doesn't have to be a dramatic transformation. It can be something as simple as pausing for a minute every morning to honor the gift that is the new day, or acknowledging a small, courageous action you took despite feeling fear. The important thing is that you move from being a passive consumer of inspirational content and become an active practitioner of transformative wisdom. The invitation is for you to recognize that your journey matters not only to you, but to all the people whose lives you touch. When you choose not to give up, when you find the strength to continue even in the most difficult moments, you become a living example that it's possible to traverse the darkness and find the light on the other side. Your persistence inspires others to persist. Your courage encourages others to be courageous. Your wisdom, gained through your own battles and victories, becomes a gift you can offer to the world. If this video touched something within you, if these lessons sparked a flicker of hope or determination you haven't felt in a while, I invite you to share this message with someone who might also need to hear these words. Maybe it's a friend struggling, a family member who's lost hope, or simply someone in your network who could benefit from this wisdom. When we share our light, we don't lose our own. We simply create more light in the world. And if you want to continue on this journey of growth and discovery, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because our commitment here is to keep exploring the deepest and most transformative lessons that great wisdom masters, whether real or fictional, have to offer. In the comments below, share which of these lessons resonated most with you and how you intend to apply it to your life. Your reflection might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Just as Frodo had Gandalf to guide him through the darkest moments, you have access to an inner wisdom that can sustain you through any challenge. Just as Gandalf believed in the heroic potential that existed within the smallest of hobbits, we believe in the extraordinary potential that exists within you. Your story is still being written. Your most powerful chapters may lie just ahead, and now you have the tools to write them with wisdom, courage, and purpose. Don't give up. The world needs your light, and you are stronger than you think.